Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Come to Your Senses podcast. I'm your host, award-winning certified feminine embodiment coach, licensed esthetician, and enthusiastic foster dog mama to animals across the land, Mary Lofgren. Here, we explore how to bring more richness, radiance, peace, and pleasure to our lives, homes, and hearts through the joy of beauty, the wisdom of the body, the warmth of connection, and the splendor of the senses. I'm so glad you're here. Pull up a pouf and let's dive in. Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to Come to Your Senses. Welcome to today's episode, which is all about redefining luxury. So right now in the Sanctuary, which is our Come to Your Senses online community, we are exploring a whole season of luxury. I'm a little under the weather, by the way, so in case my voice sounds a little more husky and luxurious today, that's why. So each season in the Sanctuary, we explore a different theme. We just wrapped a season of enchantment for autumn and winter of 2024. And January through March, we are exploring a season of luxury. So everything we do, all of the audios, all of the lessons, all of the classes, all of the practices center around reimagining and redefining our relationship to luxury. And I use that language very intentionally because luxury is commonly associated with boat trips to Capri and $25 cocktails and designer handbags and all of those things. And if those things are your jam, jam on. However, luxury solely through things and experiences actually limits the full spectrum and the full breadth of the level of luxury that our human bodies and minds and hearts and spirits are capable of. And so in today's lesson, we are skimming the cream off the Sanctuary top, and I am bringing you some of the key gems when it comes to reimagining your relationship to luxury from something that might be exclusive and that you have to center around things you have, a state of having, more into a state of being. And so let's begin where we often do, which is with the word that we're studying in each episode, and this word luxury. So the root word of luxury is lux. And lux, the etymology of lux, means light. So when I think about luxurious moments, luxurious experiences, there's a radiance to them. And the word luxury actually stems from the word luxus, which means excess. And when I first read that, it turned me off a little bit because it didn't exactly align with my experience of luxury, which is an inherent abundance in all things. But when I refined and thought about it some more, I now understand that luxury, like a simple definition of luxury, is simply having more than enough. And so a way that you might try that on for yourself is looking around your life and kind of the knee-jerk response, especially in a capitalist environment and culture, is to look for what we don't have. Oh, I'm wearing cheap $20 leggings. I should be wearing something more luxe, I'm just looking at my own space and my own self. If I were truly living in luxury, I'd be recording this from some stone-walled chateau in Toulouse, But when I look around, I'm in Northern California at the moment. And as we know, Southern California is going through immense loss and trauma, and the earth, the animals are going through trauma. And when I look around through those eyes, it's like, oh my goddess, I have clean air to breathe. I have shelter. I have clothing. I have a general sense of safety in this moment. I have electricity to light my space while I record this for you. I have the ability to record this for you. You know, even though I'm a little under the weather, my voice is okay. There's layer upon layer of people in my life who I love and who love me. And I share all of this, not necessarily to, privilege brag, because I do have an extreme amount of privilege, but more to shift our mindset from never enough. There's always some higher level on the ladder of hierarchy to climb. But in this moment, I have so much more than enough. And I know that this might echo something that I grew up with, especially having grandparents who raised kiddos during World War II, when there was a lot of scarcity with food and resources, is like, clean your plate, don't be selfish, be grateful, And while I understand that messaging, the impact that it had on me was sometimes to override my body's cues and to feel gratitude by way of shame and guilt. And I imagine that for some of us, there might be hints of that in what I'm saying here, that by reimagining our idea of luxury, it's just being grateful for what you have, goddammit. But what I'm really saying is giving ourselves the gift, the luxurious gift of a present moment reality check. Because that engine of the capitalist hierarchical mindset is constantly gnawing with a feeling of not enough, not enough, not enough, get more, get more, get more, climb higher, climb higher, climb higher. And reimagining our relationship to luxury is a way of smoothing a rose hip balm over the inflamed part of ourselves that has just been constantly gnawed on, and choosing a different track, which is to see our lives through the lens of abundance and luxury and more than enough, which paradoxically leads to more. I think we all can relate to the experience of looking through the lens of scarcity and only reproducing our current circumstances when we focus on what we don't have. And yet, I know I have seen many times in my own life when I shift my perspective to not even appreciation, but again, simply a reality check of what is really going on and the truth of our enoughness and the truth of this planet's enoughness in terms of its resources when we are willing to work in harmony with it. And two, with our own inner resources, when we can call upon the multitude of strengths and capacities that we have, instead of seeing ourselves as unfinished projects. That mindset has an extraordinary ability to take us from lack to luxury. And just last night, so this is our first gem, is a mindset for enoughness. And last night, I woke up around 5. I was coughing and I couldn't get back to sleep. And I started reciting in my mind, because, my head is really in luxury right now. And it's a perfect time, because if you're like me, when you look at the news and you see all that's happening in our government, all that's happening to our trans brothers and sisters and non-binary siblings, genderqueer siblings, all that's happening to reverse years and years of progress towards equity and equality and reparations for people of color and Indigenous people, you might be thinking, who gives a shit about luxury? I mean, I know that's what I have been thinking, especially since, at the start of the year, I'm like, what's going to be our theme this season? Let's do a season of luxury. And it's really pressed me to redefine and reimagine my relationship to it, which I'm so glad for and so grateful for. And so to go back to the story of this morning when I woke up and I had luxury on my mind when I couldn't sleep, those worries that grasp at us at 5 a.m. that can sometimes pull me into an undertow of anxiety. What really helped me this morning was reciting gratitudes for the luxury of. And so this is our first gem, first practice, is I am so grateful for the luxury of clean water. I am so grateful for the luxury of my dear beloved housemate who's sleeping in the next room. I just adore her. After over a decade of living alone, I am so grateful for the luxury of having someone else that I love in my home so my nervous system can regulate in a different way. I am so grateful for the luxury of my 3 friends here. I just moved here a couple of months ago, and so far I only have, I shouldn't say only, so far I have, I would say, 3 close inner circle friends who are new relationships or at least deepening relationships. That is such a luxury. 3! Heavens to Betsy. And so I invite you to try this ritual on for size. And as with all of the practices that we share here, hold them up to the light of your experience and see how it impacts and gives you new insight into your relationship and experience of luxury. The second gem is one that is pretty well known: quality over quantity. And this gem centers not just around the item itself, but the quality of the experience and the quality of the businesses that sell the items that we purchase. And I'll give you an example from earlier this week. I was in want of a plant for my front hallway. And I thought, let me just go to Trader Joe's or, one of those big home stores. And one of the things that has just deepened my commitment to small business ownership is everything that's happening right now to rip DEI from the womb of this nation. So I chose not to go to a big box store, and I looked up plant shops in Oakland, California. And I went to the first one, and it was by appointment only in someone's garage. And I thought that was weird. And I didn't feel totally comfortable going into someone's garage. And she didn't really seem like she wanted me to come in anyway, because there was a screaming child in the background. So bless her, moving on. I went to the other plant shop, and I will say that it took me a good 30 minutes of driving back and forth in 5 p.m. traffic. And so I was a little cranky and agitated when I got there. And I found a plant that I liked that was pretty immortal in the sense that my pink thumb couldn't kill it. And it was way more expensive than what I would have paid in the big box stores or the big home stores. But here's the thing. Here's where the luxury comes in. I mean, first of all, it's a luxury to even have the time, the spaciousness, the resources to make that choice. And I want to acknowledge that. And even though there was a greater investment of resources of my time and of my money, the luxury that I feel when I walk past it in my hallway and I see the smile of the woman who sold me the plant and the way that she referred to all the plants using she, her pronouns. And the fact that I know that by investing in that plant, I have supported a small business in my local community. What incredible luxury that is. And there's a different emotional resonance when I walk by that plant where I'm invested in that plant, quite literally. And where with something more transactional that I might buy in a jiffy, in a hurry, without a lot of intention, I notice there's just kind of a deadened sensation. There might be a small sensation of, oh, that looks good there. But there's an emotional richness and resonance and alignment with my values when I pass this plant in the hallway now. So quality over quantity in what we purchase is kind of already synonymous with luxury. But now more than ever, as we commonly read in the news almost every day, I am appreciating the luxury of quality over quantity in my values and in how I vote with my dollars. And the final shift is luxury is little. So again, when we think of luxury, I did a search of images for luxury, and caviar and aged champagne and all these things came up. And those things are very luxurious. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am in no way turning down an artisanal, peppery, fragrant olive oil made by the hands of some nonna in Italy, But luxury is often so associated with these big, grand things. But deep down, luxury is about the little things. I keep on my art table a beautiful, spicy sandalwood mist. And when I pad out there in the morning and I crack open my watercolor journal, I shower myself with oils that smell like they come from some Moroccan tomb, enormous luxury in that. I have a friend whose husband passed away recently, and I had a card from when Winnie, my dog, died. Mary Lynn, if you're listening, I love you. I will never forget that card. And she sent me this card with paw prints in the sand. And it said, "There are no goodbyes for us." It was a quote from Gandhi, and I used an image from this rose catalog from the 80s, just this ancient, I'm from the 80s, so maybe I shouldn't say ancient, but it looked kind of ancient. And I tore a piece of paper out of that and used this beautiful glittered collage paper, and on the inside cut out a phrase that says, "Allow yourself to receive," and gold leafed a little star on the back. And anyway, the luxury of not only sending a card, but sending a card with the imprint of my heart and my creativity and, just like what a gift to me it was, how much I received from making that card. Extraordinary luxury. And I want to acknowledge that I don't have currently dependents. I don't even have a dog at the moment. I'm not fostering anybody at the moment. So I have my time completely to myself. And I know that's not true for everyone who listens to this podcast. You might be caring for an animal or a human child or an elder. And with luxury being little, the good news about that is something as simple as what you're already doing, like clean sheets on the bed, is luxurious. When my mom had knee replacement a couple of years ago, she was, really in a lot of pain after the surgery. And I was like, Mom, I'd really love for you to take a shower. And it had been, a couple of days since the surgery, and she could barely stand up. Shower was really not on her radar. And somehow I convinced her, I'm good at convincing my mom sometimes, to allow me to give her a shower, with a stool and with this shower head. And, we just worked it out. We worked it out. And I helped her every step of the way. And she got back in bed, and there was this delicious body cream, lime and basil body cream. And I gave her a full body massage. I'm an esthetician, and so I have a lot of skill when it comes to therapeutic, relaxing massage. And afterwards, I said, "Do you feel like a human again?" She said, "I feel like a woman again." And that was such a poignant moment of the difference between, okay, I'm alive, I'm a human, the vitals are okay, versus the luxury of the simplicity of some touch, some warm water, some emollient cream, and that these simple indulgences of the senses have the ability to take us from just surviving to really living and thriving in luxury. So my pets, my loves, my luxury lappers, it has been a pleasure to share these gems on luxury with you. And if this approach to luxury resonates with you, I'd like to invite you to join us in the sanctuary, where there's a special savings for listeners of the podcast. And I just want to share with you a few of the things that you'll find in our charm library. So the charms, every week you get a new charm, which is essentially a private podcast dedicated to the topic of our season. And so you receive the Gilded Mindset charm, the Art of Luxurious Eating charm, Velvet Mornings, a luxurious approach to prayer that I call the honeypot of compassion. Coming up, we have how to wear the luxurious color red in your wardrobe, in your home, on your lips, in honor of Valentine's. We have a luxurious pantry to bring more simple luxury into your kitchen. We have the art of luxurious connection and conversation to bring more of this slow, honeyed radiance to your relationships. And this is all, of course, in addition to our weekly embodiment practices. And each week you also receive what's called a Tuesday treasure, which is this little newsletter style. I mean, it's just one of my favorite aspects of the program. Is every Tuesday you start off the week with a playlist or a book recommendation or a love note or a recipe. And it is just so luxurious. And what I love about the sanctuary too is that, like I said, luxury is little. Like these are small charms and delights and doses where we layer droplets of this grace and radiance into your life. It's not a whole life renovation. And so if that titillates your appetite, I invite you to join us at schoolofsensualliving.com/sanctuary. You can join us for 1 month at a time, or you can dive in for the whole year. And when you dive in for the whole year, you get a special 30-minute tea date with me on Zoom, because I love to have a personal connection with each and every member of the sanctuary. And at checkout, if you enter the code POD, P-O-D, you'll receive 10% off for the life of your membership. So schoolofsensualliving.com/sanctuary. There's also a link below this episode. And I'm so grateful to talk to you, to explore these topics at 5 a.m. in my own head and deliver them to you through this microphone. So thank you for that luxury, and I will see you in our next episode. If today's episode stirred something in you, a longing for more ease, more beauty, more attunement to the quiet wisdom of your body, then I have a velvet ribboned gift just for you. The Enchanted Path of Beauty is a free 3-chapter audio collection designed to help you soften into the radiant presence that you already embody. Let us pad down a rose-petaled path. Head to schoolofsensualliving.com/beautiful to discover beauty's unlimited power to heal our minds, open our hearts, and write the signature of the sacred through our senses.